Yo, what's going on MMA fans? It's MMA HeadSpace back with another fight breakdown today, and I am excited to talk about this matchup, which all of us fans are dying to see. It's Khabib The Eagle Nurmagomedov versus Tony El Cucuy Ferguson. This fight's absolutely amazing. In my opinion, two fighters of complete opposite styles. You have Tony Ferguson, a freestyle fighter who thrives in chaos, and the Russian steamroller Khabib Nurmagomedov, who wants to take you down, control you, and not let you get back up, in a game plan that's worked in his last 27 fights. In this video I'm going to be breaking down how these two fighters match up and sharing my opinions on who I think will win when the fight does eventually happen. But first I'd like to thank you all for tuning in and for all your support on the last video. If you do like this kind of content, remember to subscribe and turn on the bell. Now that that's over, let's get into it. Let's talk about El Cucuy's stand-up before anything else. Tony is a really fluid fighter, and most of the time I'm not even sure that he has a strict game plan going into the octagon. He tends to figure out his opponents when he's in there, and it's happy to kind of fight wherever the fight will go, whether it be a kickboxing match or on the mat. He throws elbows, punches, head kicks, low calf kicks, anything to wear his opponent down and test their conditioning and heart on the feet. One unique challenge that Tony Ferguson brings to Khabib is that Khabib hasn't really fought anyone quite as unorthodox as Tony. Khabib absolutely smashed Conor McGregor, a great striker, but not quite as unpredictable and volatile as Tony Ferguson. Now I don't think that Tony Ferguson is going to KO Khabib. He's proven to have a very good chin in my opinion, and definitely improved his striking awareness, as he's proven himself against the likes of McGregor in his last fight. But I think Tony could cut him up when he's coming in for a takedown, do some really early damage with his blades, affect his vision with the blood coming down his head, that kind of thing. Let's take a look at his most recent fight with Anthony Pettis. This was a classic El Cucuy fight. Tony was coming off a long layoff after knee surgery, and a lot of the fans were wondering if he would perform as well as he normally does, with it only being a few months after the surgery. People were kind of worried that he would be making his return to the octagon too soon, and trying to make a point. In this fight, Tony looked a bit tentative on his lead leg in the early rounds, but soon warmed up and started a war with Pettis. He was hurt, knocked down, but still throwing elbows and doing rolls. This is a strength of Ferguson's. He does very well under pressure, and because of his free, fluid style of fighting, it seems like he always takes a lot of risks. Sometimes they don't pay off, but he always gets the finish by cutting his opponents up or catching them in a nasty submission. But now let's have a look at his ground game. Tony thrives off his back. As soon as he gets taken down by anyone, he immediately attacks with his elbows like he did against Kevin Lee here, trapping people in his guard and making it very, very uncomfortable for him to stay here. It reminds me of when GSP took Michael Bisping down, and he actually took a lot more damage than he managed to dish out. And then when you're focusing on blocking elbows or trying to get your own ground and pound in, Tony Ferguson will sneak up his legs to your shoulders and secure a triangle choke, and before you know it, you're done. If Khabib doesn't want to get caught, he's going to have to be alert at all times, advance positions and isolate Tony's limbs, or pass his guard to avoid the risk of getting choked out in the early rounds. Now I want you to watch this specific sequence here. Tony is facing a wrestler, gets taken down, the opponent pushes up, and boom, upkick KO. I honestly think this could be the way that Tony wins. Whenever Khabib fights, I cringe, because I just think he could so easily get upkicked when he pushes their legs to the side and tries to get those big shots in. This just shows you how comfortable Tony is on the mat as well. Most of Khabib's opponents are too concerned with getting back up when they hit the floor. They don't even try and think of this sort of stuff. But Eddie Bravo said it himself. If Tony fights Khabib and he goes to the floor, Tony is going to attack him, not shy away from him. Guys, do not be surprised if Tony catches him with a kick like this. It's an uncommon way to knock someone out, but we know that Khabib pushes up to get those big shots in. Now I can see him getting caught with one of these on the way down. So, I've told you how Tony can beat Khabib. I think it's only fair that I tell you how Khabib can beat Tony. Well, Khabib looked very good in his last fight against McGregor, imposing his game as he pleased, as he normally does against his opponents. I think that Khabib's key to success against Ferguson will be taking him down and getting him against the fence, tying up Ferguson's legs and wearing him down with punches and elbows, as he does to all of his other opponents. There are going to be plenty of easy opportunities to take Tony down, as he likes to throw a lot of spinning elbows and punches, and we can expect Khabib to shoot down for a takedown when Tony is midway through one of these attacks. However, if Tony for whatever reason decides to fight safe, we saw Khabib have excellent distance management in the McGregor fight, shooting in for single legs from really far away, driving his shoulders into McGregor to get him down and then against the cage eventually, as you can see in this sequence here. If Khabib can secure his legs like he does against McGregor here, then Tony is going to be in a really bad position, because it eliminates most of the chances of Tony getting his legs loose and snapping that upkick KO or securing a triangle choke. One thing that Khabib will have to be careful of though, is that Tony will be throwing hard elbows in this position, and maybe even attacking his neck. So Khabib has to be smart and do whatever he can to make it uncomfortable for Ferguson in this position, just as he did to McGregor in this recent fight. And this position here is exactly where Khabib wants the fight to go. control your wrists and legs however he pleases, and rest his weight on your body so that if you just try and explode up without any technique, then you're going to be expending way too much energy than it's worth, which will just lead you to gassing out later in the fight. Like I said earlier, I think that Ferguson will actually welcome a war on the ground. I think that Ben Askren put it really well on Joe Rogan's podcast a while ago. He said that he thinks that it will be a fight where Tony will keep trying to get the submission and get really close, and then Khabib will defend it at the last second, and it will keep happening like this every round until Khabib runs away with a decision win. I would be more likely to predict that Tony does get the finish after a few attempts, but I'm a bit biased because I like Ferguson's exciting fighting style, and I always like to go for the underdog, so you know. Now let's talk about the mental game. I think these two actually have a really comical friendship by this point. They've had to face off like 4 times, so they won't have the nerves for the next time that they fight. From what I've seen, it seems like Tony's arrogance gets under Khabib's skin a little bit. He also thinks that Tony is a really weird guy, and I don't think that he can really work him out, and I think that that gives Tony the edge. He got really angry at Ferguson when he brought the powerball out to his weigh-ins at one time, as he was probably quite agitated by his hard weight cuts already by that point and just wanted to fight. Either way, advantage or not, Tony seems very comfortable in making other people uncomfortable by being himself. Wearing sunglasses indoors, talking about his shades and blades, I think it actually annoys a lot of people, and I think that he kind of finds it funny and exaggerates the part a little bit. But overall, for the mental game, I would say that both of these guys are really tough, but I don't think it will really affect them in the octagon. I think they just have a few cultural differences and don't really understand each other. Anyway guys, this is all that I really have to say about the fight for the time being until it gets confirmed. I think that we will get the fight made, but I wouldn't be surprised if the UFC signed up Tony to fight someone like Poirier or another top contender in the division whilst we wait for Khabib's suspension to finish. I'm also wondering what the UFC's plan is right now for the lightweight division. If I was them, I would be looking to make a fight between Tony and Khabib whilst they're still both top contenders, and maybe something like Conor vs Cowboy or even a Conor vs Max Holloway. I think that if Max moved up to lightweight, it would be a really good matchup, and the fans would definitely get behind it because Max has come so far recently. By the way guys, I'm thinking of doing a breakdown for Max in my next video, so let me know what you think of that in the comments below. Just whether you'd like to see that or if you'd prefer to see something else. Anyway, if you've made it this far in the video, then thank you so much for watching. You're a true supporter and I hope that you really enjoyed the content today. Remember to give the video a like and subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm making these videos weekly. I've been MMA HeadSpace. You've been amazing. Peace out.